My business partner Stefano Petti and I have been delivered coaching and training programs for managers and leaders of large companies for almost 20 years now. Over the years, we have noticed how often companies show internal dysfunctional dynamics that generate entropy and that make it very difficult, if not sometimes impossible, to achieve the expected results. In short, in organizations, instead of expressing their potential and creating innovation, many people learn to conform, to avoid risks and responsibilities, and to take care only of their own little garden in order to survive. We have always thought that by helping people at all levels to develop self-awareness of their own needs, fears, mindsets, and behaviors, and their effect on the behaviors of others, people would feel more engaged and generate positive dynamics in a natural way. At a certain distance from the change programs that we delivered, no matter how successful it was, in many companies, certain limiting dynamics tended to come back. And it was then, to better understand the phenomenon and generate value for our customers, that Stefano and I decided to undertake a research project that included desk research of existing studies on entropy and the effect of organizational structure on human behavior, interviews with CEOs of large companies in various countries, and a survey on a sample of 800 employees in the United States and Europe. Very interesting insights have emerged from the research. First of all, regardless of size, geography, sector, all companies suffer from a certain degree of entropy linked to bureaucracy, silos, lack of collaboration, lack of accountability, risk aversion, micromanagement by the bosses, lack of trust, and the like. So the problem is very broad and has huge repercussions on performance on one side, that is, companies cannot be fast, agile, and resilient as the complex world in which they operate would require, but also repercussions on the lives of workers, such as stress, depression, anxiety, and burnout. When leaders realize that the company is experiencing these limiting dynamics, what do? Normally, they undertake an organizational change, the adoption of a flatter structure, a reorganization, introduction of agile systems, investment in a leadership development program, like the adoption of a lean philosophy, the introduction of smart working, and so on. But the results obtained generally disappoint the expectations, and after a few years, the company is ready to move on to the next reconfiguration effort. So our hypothesis, strengthened by the results of our research, is that hierarchy, structures, and systems generate and reinforce the same behaviors that the organization would like to dismantle. So this idea is not really new. Chris Argyris, professor emeritus at Harvard Business School and known for his work on learning organizations, was among the first to argue that the hierarchical structure determines a transition from active to passive behavior, from self-management to dependency, and from creativity to conformism. And therefore, when initiatives like agile, lean, or smart working are adopted by organizations whose leadership has a dominant hierarchical perspective, these working philosophies become at best only a process improvement without ever reaching their true potential, or in many cases failing. So in the presence of hierarchy, only those practices that align with the hierarchical way of thinking and which are consistent with a hierarchical mindset are adopted. The experience of the last few years, together with the results of our qualitative research, has led us to create Equacy. Equacy is a revolutionary hierarchy-free organizational design based on a radical and equalitarian structure of self-organizing and coordinated teams that overcomes the limit of hierarchy and expands individual, team, and organizational potential. The most recent research shows that organizations based on self-organizing teams networks are growing in number, and they are able to produce more innovation, higher engagement, and greater performance. And furthermore, the results of our survey show that a good part of employees, regardless of their level, want a radical change in the way organizations work. They imagine a company organized as a network of teams with a decentralized decision-making process and in which there is full transparency of information. Equacy, therefore, is the first attempt to question an organizational model, hierarchy, which has remained unchanged over the centuries and which now shows all its limits.